This is the Huey Alert Podcast with Craig and Shelley Huey, bringing you the tools to transform our nation and culture, the intersection of faith and politics.
Hi, it's Craig Huey of the Huey Alert Podcast, and thanks for joining me because today there's such a critical issue of a group that is filled with deception, that is going to interfere in the upcoming election, and that is under the radar. Most people don't know about it. It's called Evangelicals for Harris, and it sounds innocent. But I've got to disclose the truth and the reality because it's so deceptive. So normally I would have with me my beautiful bride, Shelley, and we do the podcast together, and she's not here. She's flying out here to join me, but we wanted to get this in your hands right away. So she'll be back with us next week. But basically what's happened is this. There is a group that has millions of dollars to spend. I'm expecting it to spend about 20 to 25 million. They've already have collected about $1 million called Evangelicals for Harris. They created a website. They created an infrastructure. In fact, the infrastructure was really in place because it was originally Evangelicals for Biden. And Anita Dunn and Jim Messina and all these Democratic operatives knew that one thing would happen in this election that could absolutely change the election, and that's the evangelical vote. You see, the evangelical vote is the most powerful secret weapon there is. The evangelical vote is 84% conservative. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, independent or what have you. They're looking at policy issues. They're looking at things like Israel and the issue of, Genesis says, I will bless those that bless thee. I will curse those that curse thee. And they're concerned about the protection of Israel. They're concerned about Christian rights and Christian liberties. They're concerned about the promotion of Christian schooling and educational choice. And they're also very concerned about life and the promotion of a culture of life and adoption instead of abortion and loving the unborn child, like Psalm 139. I knew you when you were in your mother's womb. Well, these evangelicals for Harris use a social gospel with strange mixture. The first Zoom meeting they had, I describe in great detail in my article that I encourage you to read. In that article, I talked about how the Zoom leader, it was a hater of white people demanding reparations. It was not a leader talking about the love of Jesus Christ. The entire group, Evangelicals for Harris, was started by Reverend Jim Ball, and he has been around for many years. He has the support of some other groups as well, but this is part of the Harris campaign to be able to use this group to make sure that they win in the swing states. They already have 200,000 members, and they have a marketing strategy that's under the radar that is unbelievable. I'm going to show you two of the commercials that they've already produced. And why have they done this? What is it that they're doing? Well, what it is that they understand the influence of the Christian votes. As you can see from the slide on the power of religion, even though it's declining in America, it's still strong. Indeed, some 20, 25, 28% of the total vote are evangelical Christians. It's a secret weapon to winning an election. And as you can see from this graphic that we have on who got what the evangelical vote in 2016 and 2020, you can see that what has happened was that that Harris is seeing Clinton lost because she lost so much of the evangelical vote. But Obama, he was able to pull in a lot of it. Even Joe Biden was. So Harris claims she's a Christian. I've written how that is not true, that her mother's influence of Hinduism, her father's influence of Marxism has created a kind of a social gospel where she knows the Bible language, but she doesn't know about the personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And so she uses the words. And so during her time as vice president, one of the key things she's done is go church to church talking about how abortion is okay for Christians. She's gone out and be able to kind of have this image that she understands people of faith. But that's not really the reality of the situation. Now, she has been, as Attorney General of California, even locking up, pro-lifers. There's a pro-life filmmaker who has had years of persecution because of Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris, she went after him because he did secret video recordings of Planned Parenthood bragging about selling body parts and making money on it. Well, that was over the line. And so she has been a supporter of locking up the pro-lifers who have been praying at clinics. She's been a supporter of the entire war on Christianity that's gone on through the Biden administration. So we have a problem here. Now, this Evangelicals for Harris, as a group, they're well funded. They already claim they have about 25,000 hours of volunteer time, and they're concentrating in the key swing states. We know in those key swing states that 6.9 million evangelical Christians did not vote in 2020. That's huge. 6.9. In those states that could have swung for Trump, he lost the election by basically about 85,000 votes. You just have to move the needle a little bit, and they realize this. So now what they're doing is doing a campaign to do two things. The primary reason they're doing this campaign is to be able to suppress the conservative evangelical vote. In other words, get Christians saying, not that, I'm too busy to vote, or, I'm not feeling too good, so I'm not going to vote. It's, you know what? Neither of the candidates I like, so I'm not going to vote. And so what they're trying to do is suppress the evangelical vote. Now, a secondary thing would be to try to get some of these to vote for Harris. And we always know that some, 15%, 18% of the evangelicals are progressive, social gospel evangelicals, and they vote for the socialists. They vote for the person who's against Israel, the person who's against protection of Christian rights, the person who's for abortion. They basically take on the same radical positions, and they don't look what the Word of God says. They don't stand on sound biblical principle. So they're not worried about those. They've got those wrapped up. What they want to do is take the ones who are likely to vote for Trump. Now, notice in this graphic that we have, in this graphic, as you can see, there's a significant portion of evangelicals. That's about 25% if you add it up, who could, what we call the persuadables. The Democrat marketing machine looks at it as persuadables, people who could be swayed either not to vote or to vote for them, or maybe a third-party candidate. That's what they want to be able to do. And they know if they can do it, they can win this election. And this is why I've had the campaign where I'm trying to have pastors be mobilized and evangelical Christians that are in those swing states to vote for, not against their values. Because I realize in the political marketing machine of the Democrats realize that is the key determiner of this upcoming election. So as we take a look at this, I want you just to get a sense of it. So they have, basically done a couple of things. They're going to be running ads on Christian TV and Christian radio and in some Christian publications. But the primary thing that they're going to be, and they're going to be doing some direct mail to evangelical Christians. If you're in California, if you're in Tennessee, if you're in Texas, if you're in New Jersey, you're not going to see this probably. But boy, if you're in Wisconsin, if you're in Nevada, if you're in Arizona, and you're an evangelical Christian, you're going to see on YouTube, on Hulu, on Apple TV. You're going to see it on Facebook and Instagram, any type of Google search that you do. You're going to see these videos that are powerful in trying to suppress the evangelical Christian vote on Trump.
Hi, I'm Craig Huey, the Huey Alert, and I really appreciate you as a podcast listener. And I appreciate also our sponsors that make the podcasts possible. I'm not an investment advisor or investment newsletter writer. I'm a geopolitical commentator, but one thing I do know is that oil and gas prices are going up and the government is putting more restrictions on them, and then there's a unique opportunity that investors could take advantage of. If you're interested, you might want to consider getting a free report that we put together called Biden's War on Energy. And although the purpose of this program is not to make an investment recommendation, we should note that an affiliate of the Huey Alert has separately been engaged in connection with the Investor Relations Services for Prairie Operating Company, a publicly traded oil and gas company and our sponsor. And you can easily get this simply by going to the QR code that's on your screen, or you can go to megatrendalert.com, megatrendalert.com. And you'll get the free report, no obligation. Hope you enjoy it. Back to our show. So let me show you some of these. There's 2 out right now as we speak. There will be another one shortly. And the first one got huge attack because what they did is they used a powerful statement with Billy Graham. And Franklin Graham was so upset, he issued and I've got it here. Let's see. He says this. The liberals are using anything and everything they can to promote candidate Harris. They even developed a political ad trying to use my father, Billy Graham's image. They're trying to mislead people. Maybe they don't know that my father appreciated the conservative values and policies of President Donald Trump in 2016. If he were alive today, my father's views and opinions would not have changed. He was very upset. And with this one, basically what happens is this. You have a poster, Frank Lutz, interviewing in 2015 Donald Trump. Now, I don't want to talk about Trump's spiritual journey. I will say this, as much as you may don't like his attitude, his talk, his tweets, he was the most pro-protection of the unborn president we've ever had. Look at the Supreme Court. He is the one who tried to protect
Christian rights. He's the one who did an incredible job, not only in world peace, but protecting Israel. Multiple things besides the economy can be attributed to Donald Trump. And one of those is he surrounded himself with evangelical Christians. He surrounded himself with prayer. How much that's had effect on his own personal life, we saw during the assassination. He acknowledges it was God who saved his life, and it was a miracle. I believe that God's working in his life. But at 2015, his answer shocked people with Frank Luntz. He said, "Did you ever seek God's forgiveness?" And Trump basically said, "That's a tough question." He said, "I'm not sure I have." I mean, it's kind of shocking, the answer. And then basically the power of the end of that commercial is there. But this commercial is basically doing this. It's taking truth and distorting it and implying that as of today, in this hour, that's where Trump's at. I don't believe that's the case. But whether it is or not, this ad you'll see is one that can cast doubt and suppress the Christian bold. Let's take a look at it. It's pretty short. And again, it's meant for being on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, all the social media. Watch it.
Sorry for my sin. I'm willing to change my way of life.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? That's a tough question. I'm not sure I have. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't.
Okay, now there's a second commercial that's out that you need to be aware of, that your Christian friends may see, that it will certainly be everywhere in the swing states. And that deals with 1 John 4, about testing spirits and see if they're true. And yeah, it encourages people to do something I love, read 1 John 4. But take a look at this commercial trying to show the worst of Trump and apply it to the gospel so that you're putting doubt and you're trying to suppress the vote. Marketing wise, these two commercials are not done by amateurs. They're done by incredible research, probably AI tested copy. They're done professionally. They're very effective. Take a look at this 1 John 4 ad.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. Somebody, if I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them. I alone can fix it. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
So as you can see, the power of this ad, that's what I need you to be aware of. That the social media for evangelical Christians, it's going to be so much. Now, the question is Trump doing that? Are the Republicans doing that? Is some conservative or Christian group doing that? Well, the answer, I haven't seen much, but there are some good conservative Christian groups that are working on trying to reach out, especially in the swing states. But nothing as well-financed and as systematic as this. So they have tens of thousands of people going on Zoom. They have people volunteering to call, to text. They're taking people who agree with them and making sure they're registered to vote. All these are to the Christian market. That's where the pastors have to stand up. That's where evangelicals have to say, who do I know who's in these swing states? Who do I know who lives in Philadelphia? Who do I know that lives in Georgia? Who do I know that lives in these states that could go either way? I would add with those swing states, North Carolina, because the Democrats are convinced they can win North Carolina, and these ads will help them do it to the Christian community there. So bottom line is this. You need to be praying about what's going on in this election. 2, you need to realize things are going on that you may not see, not be aware of, but they are powerful, they're deceptive, they're being used by the enemy to cast doubt and to spread lies and misinformation, and we've got to be aware of this. And 3, not only do you need to be praying about this, I hope you join some type of campaign or group, and they, the Republicans, the different conservative groups, they have an ability for you to do texting and do emailing and do phoning into the swing states. And also, I would encourage you to help us in our campaign on the swing states. We're aiming at that 6.9 million people to try to get the evangelicals, Christians, to realize how to vote for, not against their values. If you'd be willing to help donate for the Turn America Around Fund, the complete information is here. The Turn America Around Fund, every penny will go trying to offset the evil being done by this campaign. So till next Sunday, thanks a lot for tuning in. Shelley will be here. I know she'll add that spice to the broadcast, and we'll have another great guest with us. Take this podcast, send it off to your pastor, send it off to your church friends, send it off to everybody in your Bible study, send it off to your family, friends, and certainly send it off to anybody that's in the swing states. Let's get this message out. Let's expose the darkness and let's shine light on it. You can help do that. Just simply forward this or on your email list, on your text list. You can also post it on Facebook and other social media. All right. Thanks a lot. Until next week, God bless you.
Hi, Craig Huey here. Thanks for sticking around. Listen, we know that the radical Democrats have already declared an all-out war on fossil fuels. And the rest of the lunatics in office and in the bureaucracy, they're busy peddling their green energy fantasies. But where there's a problem like this, there's opportunity. And my friend, Tim Collins, he believes there's a unique investment opportunity for his subscribers at the Streetlight Confidential. It's an investment newsletter I've known about for years. I encourage you to give his analysis of Prairie Operating Company a review. He's even prepared a special report you can download for free. So head over to topoilstocks.com. That's topoilstocks.com. You're going to be able to learn more. Get the free report today. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not a newsletter writer on investments. I'm a geopolitical commentator. But one thing I do know, and that's that oil and gas prices are going up. Although the purpose of this program is not to make investment recommendations. We should note that an affiliate of the Huey Alert has separately been engaged in connection with investor relations services for Prairie Operating Company. And Prairie is a publicly traded oil and gas company.
Thanks for joining us this week. We are listener-supported, so please consider partnering with us by donating at craighuey.com or by signing up for our free newsletter. We look forward to being with you next week. And don't forget to share this podcast with others.